Hi knitters, this is Susanne and I'm here to show you how to do an I-cord cast on. You can see here the British basic scarf. It has a super neat I-cord cast on and I-cord edges all around it, and just a super neat way to start British projects or any other projects really. And I'm going to demonstrate two different versions of it. One is knitting an I-cord and then picking up stitches. That's gonna be the first one, and the second one will be knitting an I-cord and doing the cast on at the same time. And both versions I like to start with a provisional cast on, and the technique I use for this is crocheting stitches onto my needle. You can use a different technique for the provisional cast on, or you can do even a long tail cast on and then just pick up stitches from your cast on edge. So I've used waste yarn for the provisional cast on, and I'm now switching to the working yarn, and then I'm just gonna knit a short I-cord. The length of the I-cord depends on how many stitches you need to cast on. So it's one stitch for every row worked, and then you work another 2 rows, so an extra 2 rows. One is for the provisional cast on and one is for the other edge, really, for the other corner. So one I-cord row, slipping the stitches onto the needle, knit the I-cord stitches and then slip them to the other needle again and work the row. Hi kitty, this is Frau Huber. She's a big yarn thief. I hope she doesn't run off with my yarn. So I think this should be enough already. Short I-cord length. What you want to do now is locate this knit column that goes with this last stitch here. You're going to leave this column uninterrupted and pick up stitches from the back here. So you pick up one stitch for every row worked. I like to pick up from both legs of the stitch. Don't pick up from this very edge here, from your last stitch, because we're going to need these are the provisionally cast on stitches and we're going to place them onto the needle now. So you can't pick up there. You unravel your provisional cast on and then you place the stitches, the live stitches onto your needle. So this is the first one that we unraveled, and this is the second one, and the last one is here in the back. And what you're going to do now is you need to figure out how to put them onto the needle. So it's really twisted right now, because it just put them on the needle however they came out, just to make sure that I don't lose them. What I do now is I put this tail end to the back between the needles and my working yarn to the front. And what you're going to do is this uninterrupted line, knit column from this third I-cord stitch here, it goes all the way over here, is associated with this stitch here as well. And this stitch needs to be at the very edge, at the very tip of your needle. So what you're going to do now is turn this needle around So the stitch is at the very tip. Then you slip the stitches to the other end of the needle and onto your right needle. So again, this stitch here and this knit column and this very stitch here at the edge, this is one line of one knit column line, and that's what you will need. Oh, this is my other kitten. This is Toby. He loves playing with my yarn as well. So what you're going to do now is already the setup row, and this really depends on your pattern. What you do is you knit the first 3 stitches, your I-cord stitches, your I-cord selvage stitches, and you already see these are the provisionally cast on stitches, and you have this uninterrupted line of knitting. And that's why I really use the provisional cast on, because it's just so neat. And what you do with the stitches you cast on really depends on your pattern. You might have a setup row you need to work now already. This is a wrong side row, and you just work however this pattern tells you, and you work until you reach your last 3 stitches. Then you place the yarn in front and slip those 3, and this is the cast on. 3 I-cord stitches and 4 stitches cast on for the pattern. Okay, so I'm going to show you the different second version of it, of the cast on, that where you cast on and knit the I-cord at the same time. I'm also using a provisional cast on. I've just prepared it so I'm faster. And you work 1 row just plain I-cord. So with your working yarn, knit those 3 stitches and slip them back onto the left needle. And now we start casting on already. So you do a yarn over and knit the I-cord stitches. If you have a 4 stitch I-cord, you knit 4 stitches, and you already also slip those I-cord stitches onto your left needle again. Work a yarn over, knit the I-cord stitches. So for every I-cord row you work, you do a yarn over, and every yarn over is 1 stitch cast on. So you cast on 1 stitch for every row you work. You slip the I-cord stitches, yarn over, knit the I-cord stitches. Slip the I-cord stitches, and here you already see the cast on stitches, and the reason why I don't use this cast on but the other one is because this is just so loose. The stitches here always end up super loose for me. You can tighten them up by knitting them through the back loop in your setup row, but they still are a little more loose than they are with the other cast on. Okay, so the last row, we're going to leave the stitches here on the left needle, and we have, let's say we have already cast on enough stitches, and what I do is I turn my work, and then I slip those stitches to the other end of the needle, and it's like I've already worked my 3 I-cord stitches. And then you work your setup row. This is the wrong side row again. You can knit them through the back loop to tighten them up a little, but you can see it's super loose here. Not tight at all, and I've tried it a lot of times, but they still end up too loose. You might be bad at this than I am. You can't really be worse at this. And then again you unravel the provisional cast on stitches. If you've done a long tail cast on, this is where you want to pick up stitches from this cast on edge. and then again I turn my work, and then I slip those stitches onto the left needle, and knit. You might want to, at the end you have to hide the tail end here, but this is your wrong side, your right side row already. Just to show you, you knit the first 3 stitches, the I-cut stitches, and then do whatever your pattern tells you to do with the rest until you reach the last 3 stitches, and put your working yarn in front and slip those last 3 stitches. So you can see it's not as neat as the other one. Just to show you, these are the 2 cast-on, I-cord cast-on versions. I prefer this one with knitting I-cord and then picking up stitches, but you can do it however you want. If you do need a I-cord thread cast-on, you just do a very short I-cord and then just pick up 1 stitch. It works just the same as this longer version, and you can use it for top-down shawls, which I just love doing. Okay, I hope this helped you. Have fun playing with this. Happy knitting. Bye.